Hi folks, and welcome to PageLens AI's Weekly Teardown. The Weekly Teardown is where we do a review using submitted sites that have come through from Reddit, and we actually go through using the PageLens AI platform to go and review those. So let's dive in. So this week we've actually had a website that's been suggested. That website is a website called No Code Vista. Immediate observations, we can see it's fairly clean looking, kind of has a Tailwinds CSS look to it. We can see at the bottom we've got a cookie banner, etc. So we're going to dive in and see what our PageLens platform has rated this website at. Now, we've actually run the website from a very specific location. So we've actually run this from London today, and we're going to dive in and see what the results are. So immediately for nocodevista.com this week, we had a 49 out of 100 score. So we can see here that we gave it a poor rating. We identified 6 high opportunities for improvement, and there's 108 findings that were happened or occurred across 3 different pages. So in this case, we used the a trial that we have internally, which scanned 3 specific pages. So we looked at the home page, we looked at the features page, and the pricing page. So what we can do now is actually dive into looking at the details of this report. So immediately when you go into your report, you're going to see a screenshot of what the site looked like here. We're going to give you obviously quick links to be able to go and navigate through to that. We're also going to give you a quick summary here of where your score has been derived from. So we can tell here we've got a score of 49, which probably means or does mean that there's something severely wrong that's happening with this site at the moment. So overall, user experience actually gets quite a good score. 4 findings around user experience. We've got 3 findings around accessibility. SEO's got a 99. AI searchability, so there's a new trend or terminology in the market of AEO. So there's 25 opportunities to improve that, but still got a reasonable score of 96. Then we've got performance starting to degrade a little bit, a score of 89 with 20 findings. Design's pretty clean. But what's jumping out immediately is obviously the security. So we've got a 2 out of 100 score for security with 24 findings. And then we've also got warnings, again, 8 findings around security headers. And then we've got 3 findings when it comes to tracking and analytics. Now, as you're going through looking at your PageLens report, we're going to give you actually the most advanced report that you can get when it comes to analyzing websites. We give you the ability to go and download this as a markdown. So if you just want to pass this to your agentic tools like Cursor and give them the markdown, they can go and just start working for you and fixing these issues. We also have an MCP if you wish to install that, meaning that all of the findings will be available to your agentic coding tools. With our advanced view, we also give you the ability to go into a simplified view where we actually just give you the top things that you can do. And this is if you just want plain English reporting in here. But we're going to start by looking at actually the more advanced view. So here we've got an audit summary. So the AI models that we're using behind the scenes, we're actually calling a lot of different models and doing a lot of analysis to find this. We can see here that No Code Vista maintains a high-performance technical foundation with exceptional core web vitals. That means the pages are actually loading really fast. But it's calling out here that the high priority at the moment is actually around security and accessibility risks. I won't go into details, obviously, of the view here, but we give you an executive summary of what you need to fix. Here we're saying we've got to really look at the security of the site, and then we've also got to look at accessibility standards when it comes to this application. So we do things where we grade things around the WCAG to AA accessibility ratings. So top findings here, we've got what needs our attention. So we can see here missing strict transport security. So we're actually, this relates to our security headers on this site. We're actually missing those, and that's going to be why that score was so poor. We can also see actually what's really interesting here is we're actually picking up that the tracking scripts appear to be loading before consent. So if we go back to No Code Vista for a moment, what this is actually telling us is that in the vibe coded state that this application was built in, we're actually already tracking before we've actually even accepted. So we're actually technically violating certain laws here because we're actually using or tracking the user without their permission. So really, we shouldn't be sending tracking information until we've actually accepted this. So that is basically what that's relating to. And we can see here that basically the third-party tracking scripts are actually already loaded before that consent's happened. Again, top opportunities here. We've got security headers. We've got some items that have been identified as having accessibility issues on this site. So contrast ratios. If you've got anybody with, for example, impaired eyesight, they're not actually going to be able to have the best experience on this website. This generally just needs little tweaks here and there, but the great thing about PageLens AI is we'll actually pick those up. What's another interesting finding here is actually the home page, or not the home page, the pricing page has 20 targets with blank links without the referrer no open. So what this actually means, and if we dive over to the site, we can actually see this in action. So if we come down, this is where we're actually going to see somewhat of a really frustrating and annoying side of this application, where if I click on something, I think if I come down here, for example, I'm on this site, my user experience would be if I click something, I want to navigate to it. Unfortunately, the way this site has been coded, if I click on it, it opens in a new browser window. So I'm going to get very frustrated because this site is opening up tabs every time I want to interact with it. So this is happening, or we've certainly identified it within the report where it's happening over 20 times just on the pricing page itself. Now, this was the story view, which is looking at just the top fixes that you can provide. What we also provide is the impact versus effort report here. And this is where we can see we've got our quick wins, what's going to be really easy to fix. We've got 6 items that we can see. What are we considering as polished? They're low impact, but they've got a little bit of requirement when it comes to the effort. If we have any big bets, these are things that are high impact and highly involved. And then we've got things that we call sort of put to the back. You put a view or further into the backlog of what you're going to build. So in this case, we can see you can go and filter these, see what would be here. We also provide you obviously explanations when it comes to things like WCAG, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. So throughout the site, you'll have support as you go through trying to fix those things. The next thing you can do is actually go over to the All Findings tab. And this is where we'll give you the audit summary. We'll come down, look at the severity of the issues that you find on each of the individual pages. We're also going to look and do a persona review against your website. So we're going to look at it from the view of an AI search. So if we're looking at it from an AI's perspective to classify the content so it's available to be indexed. We're going to look at this from a user experience review. We're going to look at this from a brand, from a performance, from an SEO, from a marketeer, from a chief revenue officer, from an accessibility standard, and then an executive's view of this. Each of those obviously has their top priorities, and it's just a wealth of information that's going to help you get your site launch ready for sending it out there for review or even going live. So immediately coming down here, we can actually see that earlier we saw that we had a 2 out of 100 score for our security headers. What you can see here is we've actually got an F rating for these security headers. If I expand this out, you'll be able to see here that we've actually failed or we're missing a lot of this. Now, you might wonder, why are these things even important? Well, what this actually means is that if we have certain issues with the site, I can actually potentially hack this site. I could use certain things where I can manipulate the content, call APIs, and do all sorts of things that we wouldn't want our application to do. And they're actually very quick and easy to fix. And you can actually provide your AI or IDE with like Cursor with a prompt that will actually go and fix this. Generally speaking, I would just go ensure that we get an A+ rating for security headers, and generally this will take care of it. But this is a serious concern, and you'd be surprised at how many websites actually launch with this issue. With this, you can actually click on the little info icon. It'll actually tell you in plain English what each of these mean, and we'll give you actually a sort of an explanation as what's an example of a threat attack scenario. Here we can see this one here where we're missing our strict transport security. This basically means that if somebody set up a rogue hotspot in a coffee shop, let's say you went into a big brand coffee shop, created your own Wi-Fi network there, and got people to join it, you can actually be a man in the middle and force accepting payments or personal information. So there's lots of different reasons why we'd be able to do this, and this is self-explanatory there. Next, we've got a review into AEO, so looking at your readiness for search engines. This site got a 19 out of 23, not too bad, but a key finding here, you're missing an LLM's text file. This is the latest standard. We can give you the details here. We tried to check for that URL and it wasn't present. Obviously, in the world that we're now working in, we're not just building websites for humans to interact with, we're actually building websites for agents to interact with. So we need to make sure that we've got content in a digestible format for both humans and AI. Coming down, we can see also concerns around privacy. So we've got here, we've detected that there's a privacy policy. We've detected that there's compliant of a cookie consent. What we have seen is that cookie tracking, though, however, is firing early. We've got email security where we've got SEO fundamentals, performance best practices, and content quality. With the report, you can come down, you'll see a lot of findings linked to individual personas where you can come through, filter on those and see specifically the information there. We can look also at overall, if we're looking at all the personas, we can look at things that are just marked as high and things that might be specifically related to certain things, like we might want to look at the security headers. So with this, we've got the wealth of information where you can understand exactly what's happening on your site and give your agents the instructions to be able to go and fix that. If for any reason you have an issue understanding some of the items that have been presented here, you can also come in here and click this button, which will actually send our team a notification and a ticket to be able to help you with your report and give you that information. The information doesn't just stop there. Obviously, we give you a wealth of information in the report. We also give you a page-by-page view, so we can click and expand here. We can see the view. We just did this check on a desktop vision of this website, but we can also do this on the mobile version, checking that obviously the functionality is working, and then you can expand this out. And then we also look at the performance metrics. So myself, I had a background in performance monitoring, and we can see here a breakdown of really useful things and an explanation as to what each of those things are. So actually, from a performance perspective, this website at the moment today is actually doing pretty well. So we've got LCP, largest contentful paint, first contentful paint, time to first byte, etc. Core layout shift, all being rated as really good on this site. But we give you that as a breakdown for each page. So obviously there's a wealth of information in the platform here, and we can use this information to actually very quickly go from what's considered a poor 49 score to something that's more in the 90s, which is what we would classify as a launch-ready website. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video and see our review of nocodevista.com, and looking forward to seeing you on the next video.